life tracker, GPS, compass, low angle rope training, inland SAR training with U.S. Air Force and Coast Guard. The dive team, they trained floods and moving waters for 3 days. Canine obedience tracking human remains, cadaver dog. For legal, they had legal update, firearm qualifications, all officers, licensed officers qualified their weapon. In 131, advanced vehicle stabilization. They train low angle rope training and trench rescue, SAR presentation, North Star School in Marquette Township. For events, they had the Iron Range Roll. They had 3 medical calls. They did parades, 4th of July, Marquette Trail Festival. For 131, they had 3 personal injury accidents, one in Sands Township during Gwin Fun Days, one in Negaunee Township, and one in Humboldt Township, assisted with a fire in Marquette-Baraga County line. In the jail, we lodged 83 males and 23 females, and released 93 males and 23 females. Our average daily population was 65, and we averaged 1 to 2 federal prisoners per day. The Michigan Department of Corrections did their inspections, and we passed the state inspection. I passed out their paperwork, and we're in full compliance with the state of Michigan. Any questions?
Just to congratulate you and your staff on passing the inspection and all that. I know there's a lot of things they look at and stuff like that, so.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Margaret Brum, 404 East Magnetic Street. I'm sorry I was late. I'm glad I'm here now. Reporting back to the county board that we now have completed 4 sessions of off-leash dog training. And thanks to the good work of the county clerk in letting county employees know they were eligible for such training, we were able to reach out not just to Marquette County Sheriff's deputies, but also to members of the assessing team, a treasurer, and one other member of your team that has to go out in the public and encounter off-leash dogs. The feedback on the off-leash dog training was very positive. 2 days later, we did the first of its kind in many years. What do you do when you find a loose horse? And the vet started with a very intense photograph of, please do not tie any trapped animal's tail to a tractor and try to relieve them that way. And I'll take it with me to the rest of my life. Again, that training was very well received, and we invited Mr. Brian Hummel, who is the county emergency director, to meet with us at a later time to discuss the formation of what's called a large animal emergency rescue team. And he has gotten back to me and expressed interest, and that meeting is scheduled for the first week in August. So this is a 2-for-1 win. Also, in the last 24 hours, I thanked Lieutenant Love of the Northern Michigan University Police Academy for providing the classroom space for us for free, no charge for anyone. And I had offered the training to him before, and he said his students were already booked, but he's now indicated for the next session of the police academy, he will be scheduling, with our cooperation, off-leash dog training and large animal rescue training as part of the cadets training. So I consider this to be very, very positive, and I appreciate the willingness of you to let your employees attend. Secondly, I don't know if any of you followed Facebook, but the farm is now a reality. Hemp was planted at the NMU farm this past Friday with Dr. Putman and her graduate assistant. It's going to take about 10 days to 14 days before it's ready for the experiments to begin, but the world has changed. We now have hemp grown in compliance with Michigan law. We have the license posted. We have the correct warning label posted. We will be back in touch with you, as always, talking about the need for funding standardized testing. But we did need standardized testing to plant the plants, and that has been done, and there will be a news story sometime in the next 24 hours. So I have nothing but positive news to report to you, and now I will sit down. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Public comment, anyone else? Public comment is closed. Next, review of claims and accounts. Total expenditures paid via check for the period June 29th, 2023 through July 13th, 2023, $2,526,399.03. That does not have anything to do with Elder Delta Electric and EFT transfers for the period June 29th, 23 through July 13th, 23 were $104,114.08. And biweekly payroll for the period ending July 8th, 2023, $784,460.21. Your pleasure.
I will move that we approve the unpaid amounts and approve the ones that have already been paid.
Motion by Commissioner Adamini, support by Commissioner Darby.
I do have a question though on a check register. I don't know who asked for it, but there's two of them. It may be Dwayne actually. So the first one, I'm not questioning the check, I'm just asking what it's about. So the first one I see is for industrial marketing, which is out of Sawyer. I forget her name, under Wendy, I think it is, right? And it's an Oshkosh snowplow warranty for $45,000. What was that about?
When we went out for bid for the purchase of two plow trucks, we added as an option a 5-year extended warranty on the equipment so that we would be covered. Normally, the FAA and the manufacturer provide a 1-year warranty. We deemed it was a prudent thing to do, looking long-term, especially with the electronics and these equipment, with the equipment these days, and the fact that it does take a unique skill set to repair them, and the cost could escalate pretty quickly if we had an issue. So we did go out for the option of a 5-year extended warranty, and that covers bumper-to-bumper, engine, frames, transmission, everything. And it was approved at the bid award.
I'm glad you did that, but I'm just saying, it looks like the money, oh, that's just for the warranty.
That's just,
Oh, I thought it was warranty work. I was wondering what happened to the plow.
no.
And then the other one I saw was, and I don't know what this is for, maybe it's Scott, is that for MB companies, there's a 4x4 self-propelled high-speed rotary TLO.
That-
$755. What's that? Another one.
That, with the CARES Act funding, we purchased 3 snow removal equipment, pieces of equipment, or SRE, which were with a snow blower, which self-propelled rotary plow is a snow blower, and then we had the 2 new plow trucks to replace some of our aging equipment. If you were to look back in our inventory, you can see that there is still a significant number of green vehicles in our fleet, and they are getting to be tired iron, and the CARES Act dollars allowed us to be able to purchase this. We felt that it was a wise decision. Also, it frees up future AIP grant monies for projects that we need more desperately if we could, and they're easier to work through with the AIP program rather than the CARES Act. So it was strategic to buy them with the CARES Act dollars, and it was a necessary purchase as well.
All right, thank you. I just saw the 800,000, so I was stuck out, you know.
Motion on the support to pay the bills. Any other questions? Any other questions from the board? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have a public.
Then we have the check.
Oh, we missed the Elder Delta. I make a motion that we pay.
The bill was for $1,382.96. Commissioner Al Holmes serves on the board, doesn't vote on this one, so I would ask for a motion to pay the bill.
I'll move to pay that bill to Elder Delta.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Orlean, supported by Commissioner DeRosa. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing, Marquette County Housing Emergency Rehabilitation Program for this public hearing. County of Marquette notice of public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant CDBG funding for Marquette County Housing Emergency Rehabilitation Program. The County of Marquette proposes to use $55,780 CDBG funds to assist residents whose income is under 80% of the area median income for emergency housing repairs, with $47,271.19 direct emergency costs for residents, and benefits at least 51% moderate income persons. No people will be displaced as a result of the proposed activity. Further information is available for review. Please contact Emily Leach, Senior Planner, 906-225-8196, or view program information at housingmarket.org. Comments may be submitted in writing through July 17th, 23, or made tonight at this meeting. So, any comments from anyone? Motion that we held, please.
No, it was just indicating Emily's here.
Oh, okay.
Any from the public? Any comments from the board? Motion that we held a public hearing, no spoke, would be to the record.
I would move that we recognize that we held a public hearing in this matter.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have information items, MAC state priorities for 2023, KBIC letter to the Governor Whitmer, property at the old airport for the veterans facility. So a motion to accept or file, accept comment would be in order.
Support.
Anybody want to comment on it? Take a good look at
I certainly would, yes.
the MAC priorities, because they would affect counties, especially, fund that they want to set up for revenue sharing would be a big help to counties, and also money for paying for veterans exemption for their taxes, which counties been trying to get that to for the last 10 years, and also with fair revenue sharing and reform to ensure proper funding for courts.
Do we know, anybody out there know how much money we lose in taxes on that veterans property tax?
It'd be kind of a wild guess right now, but, we can get that.
About 500,000.
Overall, it was more than 500,000 since its implementation. I for sure more than 500,000, so it could be 70,000 a year, give or take. I can get another number.
It's gotta be more than that.
The townships feel the pinch as well,
It's more than, it's just the county.
Oh, just the county.
Yeah, across the county, it's a lot more than I can get a number for.
I'd like to have a number
Yeah.
that the townships and the cities in, the 19 townships, the 3 cities in the county, how much we lose because of that. Because, yeah, it's easy for the legislature to make these feel-good things, but then they don't pay for them.
They don't fund them.
We'll see if we can pull something together.
Yeah, I'd like to make comment about the KBIC efforts to present a piece of real estate, an alternative option for the Jacob Eddy Home for Veterans. It's a little mind-boggling to me that anybody at the state level would consider putting our most deserving veterans on chemical property. That's just bizarre to me. So I hope they're successful in their efforts.
Any other comments on this?
I would comment on the Open Meetings Act issue. I thought during the pandemic, it was good that they allowed remote participation in board meetings, and obviously there was some criteria there, and then I felt like after it ended, it was even worse than before it began, and it changed some things, and then we couldn't participate at all. And in this day and age, that made no sense to me, because we're in an electronic age, everything's changing, you're allowed to participate in Zoom, you're allowed to go to court and participate in court on a Zoom. So why can't we do something with meetings? Because what we want to do is be open and foster participation by everyone, not only on us, but the community too. So I think it's a good idea that MAC is addressing that.
Thank you. Makes common sense. There's a motion and a support to accept for file. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, action item, letter of support for Marquette Township. I'll read some excerpts from it. It says, Marquette County supports the request by the Marquette County Road Commission for state and federal assistance to make safety improvements to the Forestville Road, County Road 492, Commerce Drive intersection located in Trier Township of Marquette. We understand that the Marquette County Road Commission and the township have been engaged with the community and have worked with the consultant to study options for the intersection for safety. Marquette County Board of Commissioners supports the township and the road commission in their effort to make improvements to the Forestville Road, County Road 492, Commerce Drive intersection. This area is within the urban core of Marquette County where the majority of the population live. Well-functioning road system is important for the safety and commerce. If you have any questions, please contact the county administrator. Consider Gerald Corker.
I move that we approve that.
Motion by Commissioner Adams.
And I'd like to say, I had a cottage on Forestville Basin more than 40 years ago. And, it was a bad intersection then. And the amount of traffic on that now is probably double or triple or quadruple.
Motion by Commissioner Adams.
I'll support that.
Support.
Be a little out of order.
Ideas that Marquette Township and the road commission have to improve the roadways in the township. Motion by Commissioner Adams, supported by Commissioner Norby. Other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next is 11B, consider extending the allowable hours worked under the tire rehire policy. We have a recommendation from the administrator is consider authorizing a one-time variance of the county retire rehire policy and grant requests from Judge Hill and Sheriff Zyber to allow their respective rehires to work up to 1,440 hours in the 23 calendar year. Modified county retire rehire policy to require at least 60 days separation before being considered for reemployment to align with MERS requirements. And ask for a motion for consideration.
I'll move to approve it as presented.
Moved by Commissioner DePietro, supported by Commissioner Allen. Yes.
Comment. I'd like to thank Scott Urbish, our county administrator, for working through this issue. I don't know if Scott's got any further comment on this, but I was...
Yes, so I'll be as short and brief as possible. And my initial is no to this whole issue. 10 years ago, when I first came on this board, this retire, rehire issue, costs significant money to Marquette County. And Commissioner Adamini, of course, probably has followed those numbers. I'll let him speak to that, but, it's fundamentally wrong when we take and we allow retire, rehire positions to exceed what the legislature has already set. And I know there's some legal opinions that we're gonna have coming out for that. I don't see, I'm certainly not gonna support this. I think we should hire new young people to have good jobs at Marquette County, and for those reasons, there's no way I'm gonna support this. Thank you.
Yeah. In response to Commissioner Grosch, part of the problems for the department heads they're asking for this is because they cannot fill vacancies they have. So they've gone to resources that they have available. This is not the same thing that we're dealing with in 2015 or whatever, where there was quite a few people who took advantage of Karen Moore's rule to retire and then with no anticipation or expectation of really retiring and coming back and getting a salary and retirement benefits. So this is a situation where we've got, as I'm reading it, qualified people, skilled people, trained people who are willing to come back and fill a void. And I think it's a resource that makes sense for us to use. Now, one thing I could condition this on without any problem is that the policy in this instance could state that the department heads have to be actively seeking to fill those positions, not just, let it slide. And the people, retirees, work as much as they can.
So one-time variance to train in the people, so they don't have alcohol.
Yeah, it's a tough topic because it's still raw with me from years ago, but I do see that the problem we're having with hiring people, I do want to, and I understand the way this motion is, this is a specific exemption for 2 employees, one in the probate court and one at the sheriff's office. This isn't, hey, everybody can do this now, just 2 employees. And I want to make sure we don't make a precedent of it. I think it should be an exception. I do recognize that MERS, and I'm glad we're aligning with MERS with the 60 days before they're even eligible to do 720. And then MERS has a different number of 1,000 hours that you can work. However, as so many things happened during COVID, they exempted that, it sounds like, through 2027, which it seemed like a pretty long time to exempt it. But so I guess recognizing that MERS did that, recognizing that we certainly do have a problem with hiring at the moment. I would hope our hiring situation gets better, but who knows? So I think I'll support it reluctantly.
Motion on support, any other comments?
One of the things, when that was first presented to us, I also remember the red flags from years ago and how the media and the residents were against it. But since Scott put all his ducks in a row and smoothed it a lot better than it was years ago, yeah, I'll support this because of the work that they put into it.
It's a reasonable request that we're making for the sheriff's department and probate court, so reasonable people understand that.
One more comment, just to get it out there on the floor, we have the option, or the individual, the 2 that Commissioner Nordine pointed out, have the option of returning back to work if they want to work, without having to disrupt and dismantle the entire policy and create new policies for just 2. Where do we end with that? Do we do it now for others, for maybe the jail, so I have a problem with that. We're circumventing what we set up years back. And the other thing, to actually sit here and say that one person can jam up the whole court system throughout Marquette County, I'm not buying that. Just simply not buying it. That's all.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Any other comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
No.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Mr. Gross, opposed. Next, we have C, Aerostar SES LLC lease extension agreement.
Yes, what I have before you is a request to consider amending a current lease with Aerostar SES LLC. They are a contractor or an engineering firm working with the U.S. Air Force, providing the technical support as they continue to investigate contamination with airport and the surrounding areas due to the previous Air Force occupation. This lease, as you can see on the key points, would extend the lease from August 1st to July 31st of 2025. That would be adding an additional 24 months. We looked at the previous lease rates, and we put in a 5% escalator with that, so that the new lease would raise to a cost per square foot of $2.63. And then on the annual calendar date of that lease, it would again escalate up 5%. This is a lease that is tied directly with the Telkite agreement, so ultimately, upon completion of this lease, 30% of all the revenues that would be generated would in turn have to be paid to Telkite under their current agreement.
Staff recommendation is for the Marquette County Board of Commissioners approve the lease agreement with the fees addressed in the letter of intent with Aerostar SES LLC for building 416 and authorize board chair to sign the amendment. Lease terms August through July, as we said. Building size 1,080 square foot, 263 a square foot, which is $236.70 per month. Lease shall have an escalator of 5% annually. Utilities they take care of. Lease will also be responsible for any taxes that ever come due. This lease is subject to the Telkite agreement. So, there we're at.
I would move to accept staff's recommendation on the lease.
Motion by Commissioner Arnold,
Support.
Commissioner DePietro, support. Further comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we're on to 11D, U.S. Army Icing Team, Tyanek Service Group Incorporated.
Yes, this is another lease agreement for your consideration. This is between the U.S. Army Tyanek Service Group. This is the Army icing team. They have repeatedly come here year after year for icing testing for certification with various vendors. They are requesting again to lease hangar space at the airport. They want to utilize hangar 663. It would be for an eight-month lease, depending on weather conditions and operations. The key points of the lease, again, are state from September 1st of this year through April 30th of 2024. Lease monthly rate is $9,000 per month. Any additional monthly recurring expenses would be charged directly at cost plus a 15% administrative fee. They do pay all the utilities, and they would also be responsible for all of the miscellaneous fees relating to electrical, telecommunication upgrades, and any improvements that they request. This will be the 6th year of their testing at Sawyer.
What do they do basically all the time over here?
It depends on the specific vendor, but now this year it's Bell Helicopter that they're going to be working with, and they'll create a artificial icing cloud so that the aircraft that or the company that they're working with can fly their aircraft in a icing condition and be able to accurately depict how ice will develop on that, and then make the appropriate alterations to the aircraft so that it could be certified for known ice operations.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the lease agreement and make comment. So Dwayne, what's our square foot price on this? How big is this 663?
663 is roughly 26,400 square feet, I believe. And it's roughly $3.10, or it's $3 and somewhere around there. It used to be, we were charging a base rate of $250 a day, which was $7,500 a month, but we increased the rate up to $9,000 a month.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's not only extra revenue for the airport, but they put a lot of money in the community. These people get in Marquette and spend a lot of money to restaurants, for one thing, I know that.
I agree. I've always heard that they spend a lot of money at the hotels and at the restaurants, and that's a good thing. You know, I gotta tell you one thing though, that I always pondered. You know, they always start this up during deer season, so they fly right over the top of me, so we sit there and watch it. And, and I always thought that they're creating ice on these, so the helicopter is in front and it's creating ice on a fixed aircraft or another helicopter, whatever, they're trying to make sure the de-icing works, you know? But I always said, what if the de-icing didn't work? What, then the helicopter falls in my house or what? So, they're anticipating the de-icing to work, you know? What if it doesn't? So, I don't know, I guess I was.
Commissioner, comment, please.
Yes, sir.
There is a safety factor where they can come down from the higher elevation and that ice will melt off the equipment. And they don't fly over residential areas.
At least they try not to.
Exactly, but that's 90% more away from that area. But that is, you know, I know people had asked me in the past, and I had gotten very professional information from Dwayne in the past and Scott, so anyways, I feel safe about this whole operation, and like you say, it's good for the economy. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If I may add just one more comment to the benefit of this group is, as you folks understand, this group have made several improvements to our facilities over the course of the years, and one of the big improvements that they are implementing this year on the bill of Bell Helicopter is they are installing fiber optics into hangar 663 so that they can have their telemetry work much better than just a standard internet connection, which is, if I'm correct, it's around a $21,000 investment that they're paying for to get fiber optics into this building, so it would support their operation. So in the event they ever did leave, we don't want them to, but in the event they ever did, some of the improvements that they have inputted into these buildings will have a lasting effect on our ability to lease them.
Do we have a motion and support for the recommendation of the Marquette County Board of Commissioners to approve a short-term lease agreement with the agreed upon fees addressed in the letter of intent of the U.S. Army, Tyanak Service Incorporated, covering the 2023-24 winter icing test season, and authorize Board Chairman, Mr. Parkin, to sign the agreement. Further comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, FAA Grant 3-26-0153-057-2023 acceptance and resolution.
Yes, Commissioners, what this is the CARES Act developmental grant that we have applied for. This is where they amend our CARES Act funding that we've received through COVID. We are utilizing these funds to do improvements to buildings. Specific criteria had to be met so that we would, required us to make a developmental grant rather than just doing operations and maintenance like on a lot of other items that we've worked through with the CARES Act. But this one is the grant that will fund Building 608. This is a project that I brought to the board just recently for Primo Construction, where they're putting in roofing material or putting on a new roof, new siding, new windows, new doors. This request is a pre-approval because I'm anticipating the FAA will award this grant soon. And knowing the way the FAA operates, in a lot of ways, they will submit the papers and require us to turn them around in rapid succession so that they can award the grant. The total grant value on this application was $3,785,267. A breakdown of that is spelled out. There is a federal share of $3,385,267. We had a state share of $100,000 that we had applied for in previous years through MDOT. We were successful in that. We got a $100,000 grant, and there remains a $300,000 contingency that we at this stage, don't intend on utilizing, but what we wanted to do is have a $300,000 contingency, which is a local share, in the event that we run into unforeseen circumstances.
Where would that money come from?
That would ultimately come through some of the CARES Act dollars that we've collected over the course of
300,000?
300,000. But the reason that we aligned it this way is this grant or this project is slated to be completed by May of 2024. And in the event that we would have did a full grant of the full amount and we came under budget, the FAA would not amend the grant and award us that overage back. They would automatically take it away. So this was a strategic decision so that we're anticipating it not exceeding the contingency, and that way we would not be potentially losing $300,000 on a gamble that we wouldn't use it, and we'll still be able to utilize that $300,000 within our CARES Act on other projects.
So we have a staff recommendation that Marquette County Board of Commissioners pre-approve acceptance of grant 3-26-0153-057-2023, approving chairperson Parker and civil council authority to sign the FAA grant. Furthermore, with this grant, a resolution must be passed for the FAA. Motion for the,
I would move to concur with staff's recommendation and that the board adopt the proposed resolution.
that was support.
Support, but I can't help but comment on something though.
Okay.
So the resolution says that under section 3, that we're agreeing with the grant agreement that's attached, and there's nothing attached. So it's just, it's an attorney problem I have. I always tell clients, don't ever sign things that reference documents that you really can't see. But I do trust you, Blaine, so in this one case, I'll make an exception, but it should be attached. When we say things are attached, they should be attached.
There's a motion and a support. Any further comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next resolution. Next resolution.
What's a roll call vote? Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
put them together though, didn't you?
I did.
You put them together?
Yeah, but we still didn't have to do the roll call.
Good.
Take the roll call.
Okay. Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner DePietro?
Yes.
Commissioner DeRosa?
Yes.
Commissioner Adamini?
Yes.
Commissioner Nordine?
Yes.
Chairperson Porter?
Yes.
Chairperson, I'd like to make a suggestion relative to the grant agreement attachments reference. I imagine some of those are pretty cumbersome, and I'm thinking if we can just reference where they're available for review someplace, then we could avoid getting a bunch of paperwork that I probably wouldn't do.
We can make them available at the administration.
Next, we have PFAS consideration for joint class action. So we have a lot of PFAS issues that we're dealing with out at K.I. Sawyer, as well as at the old Tony Airport. There's some issues. You want to
Yeah, just briefly,
Scott?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. As you know, I sent out an attorney-client privilege document for you to read and consider. I don't want to get into a lot of details. This is the process in litigation against manufacturers of PFAS. And so we feel it makes sense to go after this. And I know that we have issues also with the Air Force at times, and if there's ever a point to that, and I think the question that several council raised, and we have explored is whether it could negatively impact what we're trying to do, or negate us from pursuing any legal challenge or legal issues with the Air Force. And if no, if we're successful in receiving dollars for this class action, the manufacturers, those dollars that would be received, if the county ever goes after a federal lawsuit, would be taken off the top of those under the tax. So we feel it makes sense to do this. We have a lot of issues, as noted by the chair, and, looking even at what's going on with Medani Township with the water system there. And I don't know where these dollars are going to land, but you got to be in to make that, and they're asking us to move quickly on that. I don't think this is the same company that Tim Smith and Johnson, the Smith and Johnson firm, helped us with the opioid litigation, which is bringing probably close to over $2 million as those settlements are done now. So this is, I think, a good thing for the board to consider. All we're looking for today, if so, would be a motion to authorize us to proceed. If you have detailed questions, I recommend going into closed session.
It isn't regarding the class action.
Wendy, you have any comments?
I would just reiterate what the administrator said. We did talk with Tim Smith at length, and he assured us that this shouldn't have any impact on our ability to go after the FAA, or not the FAA, excuse me, the federal government with respect to the Air Force Base. But, there is a possibility that if we don't participate, we would not get any part of the settlement. So there's a chance that this lawsuit will not go exactly the way the opioid litigation went, where if you were a party in the opioid litigation, they still allowed others to file a claim afterward. And for reasons I do not fully understand, that may not be the case with this litigation. So he encouraged us to join it.
Everybody's trying to run away from their responsibilities, so it makes sense to be part of this class action suit, because the responsible parties need to be involved with, like, the Air Force has been trying to dodge completely the responsibility on its layer, but
Is this a contingency case then? We don't pay anything?
Correct. We have zero cost out of pocket, and the fee is less than the opioid litigation case.
what's your thoughts, Bill?
No, I think it's a good idea, but don't forget, I know it's easy for us to think of the airport and the old airport, but don't forget the landfill. And the landfill has a big problem with PFAS, so if you're going after the manufacturers, the landfill's part of the county too. Make sure, and we have real damages, and that's part of this problem, is you're trying to prove damages. I mean, they're required right now to install an $8 million processor. That has an $800,000 per year fee for carbon. I mean, talk about damages,
So from that, both of us are agreeing that they should probably be, we'll mention that to Tim, and who should we have in contact? Given that there's some transition.
There is transition out there. I would say you contact Randy Yell.
Okay.
I would say.
I'd have them contact
Or
Randy.
myself.
So what's the recommended motion, civil counsel?
That the board approve entering into this lawsuit as a party action.
So move.
Support.
Further questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public comment? Any other public comment? Commissioner comments, Mr. DePietro?
I really don't have nothing at this time. So if I could I turn the floor over to Commissioner Nordine?
Well, thank you very much. So I want to make sure everybody's aware that we have the UP Firefighters Tournament in Negaunee coming up a week from Friday. It's the first time it's been in Negaunee, according to I heard on the radio, it's the first time since the 50s, but I thought it was like 30 or 40 years, but it's been a long time. No matter which way you slice it, it's been a long, long time since Negaunee did it, so anybody that wants to come out, it's a great event. It's not just for the firefighters, it's for the community to come out and support the firefighters.
Commissioner comments? Staff comments? Meeting adjourned.